Okay, so picture this for a second. You're earning your income, but you're completely untethered. You have like the ultimate freedom to choose exactly where you want to live. Maybe that's a sunny beach somewhere. Maybe it's a historic European city, or maybe just a really quiet green landscape. For a long time, that felt like a distant luxury, right? But here's the exciting part. For remote workers, and especially for those of you building up passive income streams, this dream, it's rapidly becoming a much more accessible reality. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a really insightful source. Our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the practical insights, basically give you a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about this whole evolving global trend. We're looking for those surprising facts, and the real practicalities of actually making this kind of life happen.
And it absolutely is a global phenomenon. I mean, what's really striking is that something like over 60 countries worldwide are now actively rolling out dedicated visa programs, specifically to attract remote workers and passive earners. They're really recognizing and adapting to this new way of working and living.
Yeah.
And the income requirements for these visas, they vary wildly, which is immediately fascinating, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Some nations might be looking for a monthly income around, say, $5,000 to $7,000, but then others, they're asking for as little as maybe $1,000 or $2,000 a month. So yeah, while our focus today is definitely on the cheapest options for list, it's really crucial to understand that this list also presents this incredible mosaic of cultures, climates, environments. It's about finding not just, an affordable fit, but the right fit for you personally.
All right, let's do it. Let's unpack this fascinating list starting from number 12, and we'll work our way down to the absolute cheapest. And like you said, this journey isn't just about spotting bargains. It's really about understanding the unique lifestyle and the opportunities each country offers for this new kind of global citizen.
Exactly. And what's truly illuminating, I think, is how many of these countries are proactively crafting these specific visa programs. It feels like a very deliberate strategy, right?
Yeah.
It signals a shift beyond just inviting tourists. They're actually inviting long-term residents who contribute locally while, earning their income from abroad.
Okay, kicking off our list then. At number 12, we land in Croatia. That Adriatic gem. I mean, its historic forts, stunning basilicas, those azure waters, the scenic nature. It's already making it a really prime destination for tourists and expats alike. Sounds incredibly appealing on the surface.
It really does. But here's where the nuance of cost comes in. While those iconic coastal cities like Split, Dubrovnik, Zadar, yeah, they've seen living costs rise significantly. A single person could easily spend up to $2,000 a month there now.
Wow.
But the real insight into Croatia, according to the source, lies in its sort of dual economy. Smaller towns, maybe just a bit further from those tourist hotspots, they remain remarkably budget-friendly, offering a completely different feel. Now, Croatia's digital nomad visa, it's specifically for non-EU remote workers, and it allows up to 18 months of residence. You need to show proof of remote employment or your business being based abroad, a minimum income of about $3,600 per month, and naturally private health insurance.
Okay.
But here's a critical detail. The visa is non-renewable immediately. You actually have to exit Croatia for 6 months before you can reapply.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah. Despite that, though, its high safety ratings and solid infrastructure apparently attract around 10,000 digital nomads every month, so it's clearly popular.
Right. Okay, from the stunning Adriatic, let's journey north a bit to the Baltics. At number 11, we have Latvia, described as a lush green country, over half its land covered in forests, known for its beautiful rivers, lakes, waterfalls. Sounds quite serene.
It does. And interestingly, among the 3 Baltic nations, Latvia actually offers the most affordable remote worker visa. The overall cost of living is generally quite low. Now, Riga, the capital, it's naturally pricier than the rural areas, but it's still notably less expensive than most Western European capitals. Its remote worker visa grants up to 2 years of residency, and it's renewable. The base requirement is at $3,600 in monthly earnings again, plus proof of remote work and valid health insurance covering both Latvia and the wider Schengen area.
Schengen, right. That's that zone of, 27 European countries with open borders?
Exactly. So that's a nice perk, having that access.
Definitely. Okay, next up at number 10, we find Romania. This southeastern European nation, the video says, has been kind of quietly transforming into a surprisingly attractive relocation spot. Mentions Bucharest's vibrant city life, great cafe scene, but also Black Sea beaches and the Carpathian Mountains. Quite diverse.
Yeah, the cost breakdown in Romania offers some, let's say, interesting contrasts. Local produce, public transport, apparently remarkably cheap right across the country. However, accommodation, particularly if you're looking at Bucharest's more upscale areas, that can be a significant chunk of your budget.
Right.
Romania launched its digital nomad visa relatively recently, back in 2022. It provides an initial 12-month permit, and that's renewable for an additional year, so you get a total of 24 months. To qualify, you've got to be employed by or own a company outside Romania. You need to have worked for at least 3 years prior, prove the remote work, obviously, and show a minimum monthly income of around $3,900.
Got it. 3 years prior work experience? That's an interesting requirement.
Yeah, a bit more specific than some others.
Okay, number 9 brings us to Hungary, a landlocked country blending Eastern and Western European cultures. Diverse terrain, the Danube cutting through Budapest, often called Europe's most captivating city, and apparently quite a youthful place, over 100 thermal bathhouses. Budapest has this reputation, doesn't it, for drawing a young international crowd. What is it about Hungary, beyond the architecture and baths, that makes it so magnetic?
Well, I think beyond just the sheer beauty of places like Budapest, it has really cultivated this vibrant, youthful energy. Its accessibility being quite central, the relatively lower cost of living compared to Western Europe, and a really robust cultural scene, festivals, nightlife, the arts. Those are major draws. And Hungary offers a specific digital nomad visa known as the White Card. This grants a 1-year residency permit to remote workers earning at least $3,200 monthly.
Okay, the white card.
Yeah. Now, what's important to know, according to the source, is that processing times can vary quite a bit. Some applicants report getting approval in just a week after their biometrics appointment.
Wow, that's fast.
It is. But others say it took maybe 2 to 3 months total. So I guess patience or some proactive planning is definitely key there.
Right, good to know. So we've seen this clear strategic push in Europe, haven't we? Countries setting up specific visas, clear income thresholds. But as we pivot now from Europe to, say, the dynamism of Asia, does the game change? Are we about to see different approaches, maybe more unique challenges?
Oh, absolutely. The shift is palpable, I'd say. In Asia, that concept of cheapness often ties much more intrinsically with how you personally choose to live day to day. Here, the opportunities can feel quite different, sometimes less structured perhaps, but potentially even more liberating for those willing to adapt. It really does raise that question you touched on. How much does your personal lifestyle impact the actual cheapness of a country in practice?
That's such a crucial point. Okay, so let's shift our focus then to Indonesia at number 8, a country of, over 17,500 islands. It's long been a preferred hotspot for remote workers, expats, retirees. Bali, Lombok, Java seem to draw most of the international crowd.
And this is exactly where that lifestyle question becomes central. The core lesson in Indonesia, based on the video, is that while the cost of living is generally inexpensive compared to Western countries, it varies dramatically based on your lifestyle choices.
So,
Well, if you truly embrace living like a local pro, sourcing fresh produce from the neighborhood markets, eating local food, it can be incredibly cheap.
Wow.
However, if you opt for modern serviced apartments, Western-style supermarkets, frequently buy imported goods, your expenses can, skyrocket pretty quickly.
makes sense.
Indonesia's remote worker visa requirements generally include bank statements showing a minimum balance of about $2,000 over the past 3 months, and critically, a foreign-based annual income of at least $60,000.
60,000, that's quite a jump from the European ones we just discussed.
It is a different tier, perhaps targeting a slightly different demographic alongside the budget travelers.
Interesting. Okay, coming in at number 7, another Southeast Asian gem, Thailand. A perennial favorite, right? For digital nomads seeking those exotic beaches, striking landscapes, vibrant nightlife.
Yeah, and similar to Indonesia, the cost of living in Thailand varies quite a bit depending on where you choose to settle. Chiang Mai and Hua Hin are generally seen as more budget-friendly for passive earners, whereas places like Phuket, Bangkok, Pattaya are definitely more expensive.
Okay.
Now, for passive earners specifically, Thailand offers its Digital Nomad Visa, or DTV. To qualify for that, you need proof of remote work for foreign entities, and you need to maintain bank funds of at least 500,000 Thai baht.
Which is roughly?
Roughly 14,000 US dollars.
Okay, so a lump sum requirement there rather than monthly income.
For that specific visa, yes. It's also important to note, though, that while this DTV exists, Thailand also offers an alternative, a 10-year long-stay visa. But that one's primarily aimed at high-income professionals, requiring an $80,000 annual income.
Right.
So it seems like they're casting a pretty wide net, trying to attract everyone from the more budget-conscious nomads to the really high earners.
Gotcha. Okay, number 6, we have the Philippines. Over 7,000 islands, turquoise waters, lush landscapes. Easy to see the appeal for retirees, expats, remote workers. Plus, the video mentions English is widely spoken, especially in cities like Manila and tourist spots like Boracay or Palawan. That's a big plus.
It is. And what's truly striking here is the incredibly low cost of living. Many remote workers apparently report spending below $1,000 a month in the Philippines,
$5,000 for everything.
covering rent, amenities, basic services.
Yeah.
That's a significant financial advantage, obviously. Now, the country recently revitalized a new digital nomad visa. It's planned to last for around 2 years. To qualify, applicants will need to show remote work for foreign entities using digital tech, have valid health insurance, a clean criminal record, and crucially, an estimated sufficient foreign income of around $2,000 per month.
Estimate, so it's not fully locked down yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the key point. While the application process isn't open just yet, its pilot implementation is apparently set to begin in late July 2025.
So very soon.
Yeah, it's definitely one to watch as it actually rolls out and the final details become clear.
Good tip. Okay, now to number 5, Argentina. The video mentions a digital nomad lifestyle has really boomed here, with Buenos Aires, the capital, becoming this really dynamic hub for nomadic workers and long-term travelers.
Yeah, but it's vital here to acknowledge Argentina's economic reality. While inflation can be severe, this actually presents a major advantage for those earning in U.S. dollars or other strong foreign currencies.
Right, because of the conversion rates.
Exactly, thanks to incredibly favorable conversion rates. And furthermore, income earned from abroad is apparently not taxed at all in Argentina for these visa holders.
No tax. Wow, that's a huge financial benefit.
Massive. Beyond Buenos Aires, the source mentions the coastal city of Mar del Plata is popular for those seeking, sun and beaches. Argentina's most popular option for passive earners seems to be its transitory residence visa for digital nomads. It requires evidence of sufficient income or savings, around $2,500, and it's valid for 1 year.
Okay, now, next, at number 4, we have Georgia. Nestled there between Europe and Asia, celebrated for ancient vineyards, breathtaking scenery, Black Sea to the Caucasus Valley's rich culture, and apparently unrivaled hospitality. You mentioned special incentives earlier for remote workers here. What specific tax benefits or perks are we talking about?
Yeah, Georgia seems to offer a very attractive package, going beyond just low living costs. For remote workers, it includes significant tax benefits. Plus, the ease of opening a bank account, the ability to establish a company fairly easily, and even the option to invite family members under the same visa umbrella.
That's comprehensive.
It is. The Remotely from Georgia visa program is the most popular route. It requires proof of remote employment or owning a business outside Georgia, a minimum monthly income of $2,000, valid health insurance, and, a passport valid for your intended stay. The ease of doing business there seems to be a major draw.
Right. Okay, we're getting down to the truly budget-friendly end of the list now. And some of these might genuinely surprise people, maybe challenge some preconceived notions. So what does this all really mean for someone looking to truly stretch their budget and maybe live in a fundamentally different way?
Well, it means there are increasingly viable options for incredibly diverse preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Not just financially, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also in terms of culture, lifestyle, and often, the mainstream perception doesn't quite align with the reality on the ground, which is something we certainly see, I think, with our next country.
That's right. At number 3, we have Colombia. Often surprising to newcomers, perhaps, but the video stresses that major cities like Medellin, Cartagena, Santa Marta are actually thriving hubs, places where remote workers consistently find safe, welcoming, and really vibrant communities, kind of challenging maybe outdated notions of the country.
Absolutely. And living expenses in these cities are strikingly low. Now, foreign goods can be pricey, sure, but local produce, accommodation, public transport, healthcare, remarkably affordable. And here's a standout fact from the source. Colombia's healthcare system is apparently of an extremely high standard and surprisingly affordable.
Really? High standard?
Yeah, it was ranked 22nd out of 191 countries by the World Health Organization. That actually puts it ahead of both Canada and the U.S. in that ranking.
Wow, okay. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Right. Plus, with many active international communities in those cities blending in, socializing, it tends to be quite easy. Their Type 5 digital nomad visa lets remote workers legally live and work in Colombia for up to 24 months. And the requirement, proof of a monthly income amounting to just $1,100.
$1,100.
$1,100, along with valid international health insurance. That combination of high-quality, affordable healthcare and really low living costs and income requirement, that's a potential game changer for many.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, coming in close at number 2, Albania. This Balkan country, the video says, has gained significant traction recently, particularly for its genuinely cheap coastal living. Cities like Durrës, Vlorë, and Saranda are seeing the highest influx of international visitors and nomads.
Yeah, the advantages here are pretty clear. Gorgeous beaches, lots of sunshine, and a remarkably low cost of living overall. Accommodation is apparently particularly affordable compared to the rest of Europe. The source mentions savvy investors are actively buying condos and even freestanding houses right by the sea because the prices are still relatively low.
Interesting. Are there downsides?
Well, the video does acknowledge that the quality of life, if you measure it by something like the Human Development Index, which looks at health, education, living standards, it's not as high as some Western nations. But it also notes that considerable efforts are being made to improve public services like healthcare and transportation. And the bottom line is, foreigners earning in stronger currencies like dollars or euros can indeed live quite lavishly there.
And the visa.
Its digital nomad visa is described as very easy to obtain. The main requirement seems to simply be showing sufficient income to sustain your stay, though the exact figure isn't specified in the summary we have.
Okay, flexible maybe. And finally, the number 1 cheapest country on the list is Sri Lanka. For some, maybe the idea might seem a bit unexpected, but the video suggests it offers a surprisingly similar beach and lifestyle vibe to, say, the Maldives or Seychelles, but at a tiny fraction of the price.
Exactly. Sri Lanka has an active digital nomad visa program. It offers a 1-year residence permit, which is renewable yearly. The requirement is a monthly earning of $2,000. Now, crucially, the visa is strictly forbids working for any local Sri Lankan entities. All your income must be foreign-sourced.
Ah, okay, important distinction.
Yes, very. Also, non-residents are exempt from Sri Lankan income tax on that foreign-earned income, provided, of course, they remain below the official residency thresholds for tax purposes. The coastal regions enjoy a lovely tropical climate year-round, ideal for that outdoor living.
Yeah.
And while it's generally considered a safe country with low crime rates, the video does advise caution regarding scams and pickpocketing, particularly in tourist-heavy areas. Standard advice for many places, really.
Right, sensible advice. Okay, so after diving deep into all these really diverse options, what truly stands out to you considering just the sheer spectrum of global opportunities now available for remote workers? It's clearly not a one-size-fits-all solution, is it? It feels more like this incredible mosaic of possibilities.
Totally. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, I think it highlights a really fundamental shift in how we're starting to approach work and life itself. It's no longer just about finding, the absolute cheapest place to live. It's becoming more about finding a place that aligns deeply with your personal values.
Mm.
Is your priority access to high-quality, affordable healthcare, like in Colombia?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a vibrant expat community, a specific climate, maybe deep cultural immersion? It also really underscores the importance, doesn't it, of truly digging into the specifics of each visa program. Understanding those income requirements, yes, but also evaluating all the quality of life factors that go beyond just the monthly budget spreadsheet.
Absolutely. We've taken a really fascinating deep dive today into some places where your income can definitely go further and potentially your entire lifestyle can be transformed. From the historic streets of Croatia all the way to the tropical beaches of Sri Lanka, the possibilities for designing a life on your own terms, they seem vast. And hey, if you're as fascinated by these kinds of global opportunities as we are and you want to explore more incredible travel and lifestyle content, you should definitely check out the Travel-Aloo's YouTube channel. They do more deep dives into places that might just redefine your future.
Yeah, and this whole discussion really raises an important question for you, the listener. Beyond just the bottom line cost, what aspects of living abroad truly matter most to your personal well-being, to your sense of fulfillment? What specific quality of life factors would actually top your personal list if you were considering a move like this? Is it the healthcare, the community feel, the climate, the culture?
It's a great question, and maybe consider this. The real luxury here isn't merely earning income from anywhere. It's the profound ability we increasingly have to intentionally design a life that truly suits us, leveraging these amazing new global opportunities. So the final thought is really, what kind of life will you build and where will you choose to build it?